Hello and welcome. This is We Make Art, and I am your host, artist and mentor, Sarah Rockwood. Hello! We are back. The year is 2026, and I am here with a new recording situation. Absolutely everything has changed for me here, and it's really, I've got a different camera, I've got a different microphone, which you'll see if you watch any clips on Instagram or if you head over to the YouTube channel. And it amazes me how much changing the mechanics or the environment of something I regularly do can, I want to say discombobulate me, can take me into a different place. I've been doing this podcast now for 2 years. There was a little hiatus in there, but for 2 years, two and a bit years, something like that. I could check, but I'm not going to. And I have a routine. I have a way that I do things. And now here, switching it up with a different location in my studio space, in a different camera, in a different microphone, I find myself on uneven ground. And there's something very exciting about that. There's something that we as artists can explore within that. You know, if you've always done your writing in one location, what happens when you do your writing somewhere else? If you've only ever danced in your studio, what happens when you go to the park and find a place to explore your movement? It brings out another level, another aspect of our magic. You know, we can look at it as something that could throw us off, and maybe it does. But maybe there's something magical and expansive in that wriggling, in that uneven ground. But before we get into our topic for today, our discussion, our exploration, I want us to just take a moment to breathe. Take it in, let it out. And perhaps if you feel comfortable, you might be driving, I don't know. If you feel comfortable, just letting your face relax. Let the jaw soften. Think about your ears. I know, we don't think about them very often, but they do hold a lot of weird tension. Maybe one day I'm not here because it's a podcast, but maybe over on Instagram I'll show you like some of the ear massage stuff that I do. Because after I do it, I feel like a totally different human. So yeah, think about your ears and imagine them softening. Not just the outer cartilage, not just the lobe, but imagine that softening going in through the canal of your ear, into the body of your skull. And let that softening radiate out. Just breathe into that image for a moment. You can do this with any part of your body, right? Just picturing it in your mind's eye and inviting it to soften. It's really fascinating how much rejuvenation and relaxation we can give to ourselves through relatively simple and free exercises like that. So let the jaw soften, let the ears soften, let the heart soften, and let's get into it. So the title of our show today is Artists Are the Ultimate Manifestors. And I know manifestation is a big buzzword. I know it's something that gets talked about a lot in this new year period. Manifest your best life. What do you want? Put it on your vision board. Before it was a buzzword, before it was like a lifestyle activity, I was going to say, sort of like yoga. I mean, do you manifest? Do you do your yoga? Like before it became part of, at times, a performative expression of spirituality, we were already doing it as artists. We've been manifesting our whole lives. We do it so innately that we have forgotten it's a skill. We have forgotten that what we actually do is quite magical. And this episode today, What the heck? This episode, New Year's, same mouth flubs. This episode today is our reminder, is our return to the knowledge that we are the ultimate manifestors. So at its most simple, manifestation is making the unseen seen. To take a thought, a feeling, an emotion, an idea, and make it a reality. Artists, you and I, are the blueprint for that. And I believe that manifestation at its most powerful, at its most abundant, is not about calling in the specific handbag that you want, or $1 million, or that exact vacation, like calling in the specificities. I think manifestation has the power to create a really beautiful, abundant life. When I talk about manifestation in my work with clients and in my own life, I'm not working on a specific. I'm working on a feeling. I'm working on an emotion. I'm working on a vibe, for lack of a better term. And making art is a powerful part of making those feelings and emotions a reality. Oftentimes people come to me and they want, in my work as a life coach, they want, and as a voice coach as well, and as a director, in all situations. I wanted to narrow the focus, but really, I think in every situation I've had with a one-to-one client, they have desired an emotional state, and once in that emotional state, then they will make the art. They have desired a certain kind of life, and then they will feel good, and then the art will flow. And I think that kind of manifestation process works for people who are not artists. But as artists, art making is essential to the outcome. To say, oh, when I feel good, when I feel happy, when I feel abundant, then I will have time for my art. The cart is before the horse. To dust off an old chestnut there. Ooh, and chestnut. Yeah. Sometimes I show my age and my British roots. When you're raised by two British people, you learn a lot of like completely weird and useless turns of phrase that have very strong Monty Python origins, but then do not resonate in day-to-day life. Yes, to say that you're waiting for the ideal to embark on your art, I think has it backwards. And I know why we think that, because, there is this idea of, or a component of manifestation of like, embody what you want to become and then reality will catch up with you. True. For artists, embodying the reality you want to become involves making the art now, working on the art now, infusing the art now, with the emotional states you want to achieve, and allowing that art to take you beyond what you thought possible in terms of feeling good about yourself and your life. Activate now. Follow the heart now with the resources you have now, and allow that impulse to unfold and change your life. And remember that you are already manifesting with every work of art you create. You are manifesting. You are making the unseen a reality. When you play, when you practice, when you explore, when you swim in the magic of creation, you are manifesting. My goal for today is to empower you around the magic you already possess, to let you know in this moment, in this time where manifestation is such a buzzword, and it is, I don't know about your Instagram feed, but half my Instagram feed is like makeup, and then the other half is manifestation. It's really come to that place. And I love it. I enjoy it. It's very relaxing for me. But you are a master manifester. You already are. And I think if you have that lens on while you're consuming this material, it just fuels you even more. Like when you look at an empty table and you see a vase there, in your mind's eye, you can see a vase, you can see your beautiful flowers cascading out of it. And then the next day you find yourself on the pottery wheel, like forming the vase you had in your mind. That's manifesting. When you hear a bird sing a few notes and then you find yourself like in the shower humming them back and then building on it. And then next thing you know, you've sung a verse into your phone of a new song. That is manifesting. When you hear a new piece of music and you feel movement in your body, and that same movement comes back to you again and again, and you play with it for a bit, and next thing you know, you're doing a series of movements the same way, sort of every time around this piece of music. Guess what? You're choreographing, you're manifesting. There is so much about our process as artists that is magic. Yes, we learn the skills. Yes, we have processes and there is technique. Of course there is, right? Because you have the raw impulse and you refine and you grow. But I really want us to understand how magical we are and how powerful that is. That piece of art, that song, that poem, that piece of choreography, that painting, it didn't exist until you made it real. And that is manifestation. That is magic and your power in action. And something that is essential to both manifestation and the artistic process is the transformation we go through during it. That both manifestation and making a new piece of art require a vision. They require that we trust the unseen, and they require that we step into a new version of ourselves. I believe and have seen that we are shaped by every piece of art we create. That every work we take on asks us to step forward into a new version of ourselves, into a new reality that we have created through the actualization of this piece of art. We create a new reality, a new timeline, if you will, where this work of art did not exist before. Where the version of us that created this work of art did not exist before. And part of this process of art making and manifestation is surrender, is allowing the flow. I'm a question that often gets asked of artists is like, well, how long will that take? Well, it'll take the time it takes. And yes, there is work we have to do under deadline, and there are different paradigms depending on whether or not you've been hired to do something specifically or you're working on a work purely for yourself. It's finding how flow works for us. And the more you experiment with flow, the more you allow it into your process, the faster you get to it, the more cleanly you drop into it. And then you do find that the timelines speed up. I mean, there are moments where I can write, 5 poems in a day when I let it flow. There are some times where I can't even write one because I'm forcing it, because this is my poetry time, So we work with the energy of the moment and really let it play. Let ourselves be vessels for the art and the evolution that brings forth in us. I feel hesitant to say this next part only because I don't want it to bring pressure to the listener, to you guys, because I know what weight this word holds in our day-to-day lives. But I'm going to say it anyway. And it's responsibility. I do feel that as artists, because we have this innate manifesting power, because our work brings so much to culture, we create culture through our art, we create the trends through our art. We bring joy to people's lives with our art. We really do. Whether you are, writing a few words on your lunch break or you're first on the call sheet, the work that you create affects positively the lives of those people around you and those people who come into contact with your work. And there is a responsibility that comes with that. And I think the responsibility is purely to continue to engage with it. It's not to worry about what you're writing about or to create in a certain way or to feel pressure about what you're doing. The responsibility is purely to engage with your spark, with your artistic impulses. It's a sacred responsibility. It's something beautiful that we have been called here to do. And I think that's really powerful. I think that's really beautiful. And I think we should all just get on it and stuff. So to summarize, you are a master manifester. You always have been. And you don't need to prove it. You just need to remember that. Trust that. And make your art. That's it. Make your art. I say that's it, and then I'm like, well, that might... How do we get started, Sarah? Yes. That's a big question, isn't it? How do we get started? If you haven't started yet, or if it's been a while since you've done the work, how do you get started? And I'm going to ask that you find stillness first. And that's why I created The Art of Return, which is the private podcast. The links are in the show notes below. To facilitate, I'm like, what word? To facilitate that stillness. And once you're in that stillness, and it can be one of the visualizations, as I say, in The Art of Return, or even just set a timer on your phone for 5 minutes and breathe. And once you're in that stillness, quietly ask yourself, what wants to come through me? What wants to be born in this moment? And see what your mind, your subconscious, your spirit, your whole energy, see what perks up. Could be images, could be words, could be something very specific. Let it flow. Just keep repeating that process and taking action. Could be small action, could be big action, taking action on the visions and information that comes through. So that's it for today. Take a moment before you go on to the next part of your day to check out the links below and get signed up for the Art of Return. It's free, it's private, it's sacred, and it's visualizations designed specifically for artists, read by me. So if you want more of my voice in your ears, read by me to help you cultivate stillness and a return to self. Because from that place, all art is possible. And I will see you in a couple weeks. Or you'll hear me, whether you're watching this on video or listening. Sarah, you don't need to explain. The people know what you're talking about. Okay, all right. I'll talk to you guys later.